Okay. All right. I'd like to welcome Drew to this session of Tiny Questions, I guess we're calling it. And again, you're running for deputy mayor. So what made you get involved? Why now?
Why now?
Yep.
Well, it started about 2 years ago. I was in the neighborhood walking my dogs, and I was approached by an individual who told me that the township was building this massive administrative building, and threw out some dollar figures. So I wanted to get to know a little bit more about what that was all about, and I started becoming more engaged. Started attending council sessions and council meetings, and at that point in time, I realized that we have a lot of money being proposed to be spent on this large capital project, and there wasn't a lot of public input or consultation at that period. So I really got involved trying to understand the needs of the community and also the rationale of the council's decision. So that's how I really started becoming interested in the local community a lot more, as I recently retired from my position with the County of Simcoe after about 24 years of service.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. Is there anything else you want to tell people about what you're running for? What, yeah, obviously the community involvement and ensuring, like you said, the capital expenditures. Is there anything else you want them to know?
Well, I am running for deputy mayor. Um, and the reason for that initially was because of my intimate knowledge of the county affairs, knowing that Tiny Township was just a part of the overall taxation and policies for the entire um, county. Since then, as you may know, and a lot of people understand that no longer is a deputy mayor, still sitting on county council as of the end of their term. Um, and at that point in time, I had been become so engaged on what our community was looking for in leadership and long-term planning for Tiny, and I decided that regardless of the fact that the county representation wouldn't take place, it was still my civic duty to continue along this path and to bring sensible and cost-effective leadership to the township.
Okay, perfect. You mentioned council meetings and you've been to some. So they used to be in the evening, now they're back in the afternoons. What are your thoughts, as you said, on how residents can interact with council? What time do you think the council meeting should be?
Well, when they made the change from early evening meetings to daytime meetings, um, it really concerned me because there was a lot of people that otherwise may attend that were working and or had other obligations during the daytime. And I just simply couldn't understand the rationale. Um, a public servant sitting on council should be available to the most individuals, most taxpayers in the community as possible. And by doing so, reducing it or changing the schedule to daytime, it really reduced the number of people that were attending meetings. I saw that personally. There were many occasions where there was two or three people in the meeting, including myself, and I just thought this is wrong, and we need to change that. We need to have better access for the public, um, and it's plain and simple to me. The more representation, more voices you get from the community members, the better the decisions hopefully would be by our council, representing the wishes of the township average voice.
Okay, thanks. And we're going to move on to fiscal responsibility. And so, as you said, you were concerned with the administrative complex. So, what are your thoughts on fiscal responsibility and how it would work if you were elected to within Tiny Township? What?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I think what is missing from the current council is listening to the voice of the residents, because there was substantial pushback by residents, in particular dealing with the new administrative center. And there was a petition that went out where we had nearly 8,000 signatures opposing the bill because of lack of proper consultation and simply the extreme cost, and putting the township in debt really for the first time in its history, and substantial debt. We're not talking about doing core services like roadways and ditches, taking care of environmental concerns for flooding and so on. We're talking about extending the capital spending by the time it's all said and done, we're looking between $55 and $60 million when you include the debenture costs or interest costs, depending on how that is financed over time.
Okay. You had mentioned the petition. So Tiny's moving this election to online mail-in voting. Is that something you would consider implementing more often for community input, like any large expenditures or any questions? Like if a petition came from the township with 7,000 signatures, how would you asking for a referendum? Would that be a good way of going about it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, it's about representing the needs and wants of the community and the people that are actually footing the bill. I believe that any expenditure over, say, $2 to $3 million, as an example, that is not part of the overall asset management plan for our infrastructure and long-term planning as it relates to our infrastructure, it should be brought to the people. We're talking whether it be a new land purchase, such as the one at Sunset Beach for $4.5 million. That was done behind closed doors, and the public had zero input on that. That was, in my opinion, the wrong way to handle things. It should have been brought out in public with town hall meetings, and whether it garnered support or not, that should have been what navigated the decision-making process for council. It's about representing the needs of the people and the residents, the cottagers, the farmers, the local business owners, etc., not implementing an agenda by a group of councillors who believe it's a good idea. The community has a lot of intelligent people, a lot of professional people with very valuable input. That needs to be taken into consideration for every expenditure. That is a large expenditure that's not routine. It needs to be put to the people.
Okay, thank you. The official plan of Tiny emphasizes an environment-focused approach to any development. What are your thoughts on that, and how would you ensure that, or do you think it should change?
Well, as in all decisions, you need to find a balanced approach. Environmental concerns are indeed important, but we need to do so in a measured way. We need to take care of the environmental factors and deficiencies that we know are currently existing. And I mentioned flooding earlier, for an example, or diverting waterways. We have issues out at Fairlane Lake as it relates to water levels that is simply being ignored right now. Those are immediate. Those are immediate concerns that we can see as residents that must be addressed. But it has to be done in a way that is beneficial for our community. It has to be a local-based environmental decision or pathway. There are so many other environmental organizations already existing that govern high-level decision making, and certainly if they're legislated, then we need to follow. But I don't believe that we need to follow all environmental worldwide regulations. I think it has to be something that makes sense for Tiny Township. Tiny Township does not produce a lot of carbon per capita as do other large municipalities. So, if we're talking about building a building that's considered a green building, we have to look at the costs related to the benefit and the overall impact on global emissions, not one rule for the world shouldn't dictate how we do things. We have to do it with a common sense approach.
Okay, thank you. That kind of leads into economic development. So I have a family up here, and my kids can't live here right now. As they graduate and move on with their careers, they can't afford to live in Tiny, which it is what it is. So what are your thoughts on economic development along getting people started in Tiny, or do you see it more as a retirement area?
Well, if you look at the demographics, it certainly is a retirement community at this point in time, where nearly 50% of the population are retired folks. This area naturally draws people that are looking for a quiet, simple way of life, that perhaps have been family cottages converted to full-time residents. Economic development has always been a challenge for rural communities. And it often doesn't make economic sense for companies to relocate to areas like ours because of manpower issues, logistics, just simply the distance from urban centers. And I think we have a lot of challenges. I think we should be focusing on small business development, industrial research type firms that may be interested in relocating, that are not governed by the location and the commute as much as we have available to us many more electronic ways of conducting business. So we have our local airport, which there are some economic development lands available there for research, for aviation. And I think if we look at our options, that's about the only area that we really should be focusing on. And it's going to be an ongoing challenge for many years to attract appropriate businesses that see it as a viable option.
Okay, and along these lines, so the tax base is funded by ratepayers or business. So again, to keep taxes in line or keep taxes low, you either have to add more people, cut spending, or add more businesses. So what are your thoughts on how to do that in a balanced way in Tiny?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our community, really, if you look at the last 50 years, there hasn't been a lot of a growth in Tiny Township. Our services remain very basic, and I believe should remain very basic. We don't, the township doesn't look after garbage collection, recycling. Um, Really, we have basic core services that should be delivered and delivered in a high quality fashion. We do, our township does road maintenance, road paving, snow removal, and some recreation programs. But I think our focus has to be on our infrastructure. Um, so the tax base isn't going to grow exponentially. So homeowners and cottage owners and farmers, recreational or vacant lands are really, that's reality. We're going to have to foot the bill. And how do we sustain our economy and our local services? We have to look at delivering core services primarily, do them better. Don't continue to try to provide services that are otherwise given in other local communities, such as Midland Penetang. Really, we don't have boundaries, physical boundaries between other communities. We all go, if you're in Tiny Township, you do your shopping in Midland or Penetang, or perhaps even Barrie. So those services are out there already, whether it be your doctor's office, medical care at the Georgia Bay General Hospital. We should focus in on our basic needs, and that will allow us to keep our taxes reasonable. And by not expanding services, we should be able to maintain a relatively low tax rate based on inflation. And that would be the goal. It has to be the goal because real estate prices are becoming ridiculous to the point where, and that also drives the taxation through property tax assessments, forcing residents that have little family cottages or little homes out of the area because the taxes have gone up over 36% in the last 4 years alone on the municipal side, on the Tiny Township municipal side. We have to get that reined in. It's just not sustainable.
Okay, thank you. We're just about up for time. So is there any closing statements you'd like to make to everybody that's listening?
Well, I think it's fair to say that residents that live or visit Tiny Township are looking for a simple way of life, a simple based on recreation, based on our forests and our beaches and our beauty of the area. I think we need to preserve our way of life in Tiny Township. We need to continue looking at what this area means to so many people. It's a heritage and historical area for so many people. And in this busy world, I don't want to see Tiny Township become urbanized. I hear our current mayor talks about growth and prosperity. And I really struggle with that because with growth comes additional need for infrastructure. It also brings in other undesirable side effects, such as increased crime, busier streets, more wear and tear on our infrastructure. And it becomes a vicious circle where your growth is always looked at as as a way to increase taxation. But I believe the best way to manage Tiny Township is to, as I mentioned earlier, focus only on core services, do them at the highest possible level, and reduce the need for increased taxation on residents. And many residents are struggling right now to pay their tax bills. And, you know, I look at the fact that our taxes have gone up over 36% over the 4 years, whereas if you look at retirement pensions, they're nowhere near 36%. And people are just putting out more money on services and other programs that they just simply don't want. And if we're going to run effective programs, we have to do it cost effectively. If there's recreation programs that are being offered or expanded, it should be on a user fee basis. Those that want to play, pay for those amenities, and make it run more like a business. The township has to look at every nickel and dollar and get the best possible value. We have to stop thinking that we have a purse that is unlimited and look at the realities facing us in the future. And I just want to see us preserve our forests, our waters, our beaches, our way of life. And I think most people that I speak to on the street or in public have the same feeling. This is their happy place. This is the place that they come to get away from the hustle and bustle of this crazy world we're living in, and just spend time with family and have barbecues and have friends visit and relax and get away from the headaches of this this world that we're living in. It's out of control, and we need to preserve it above all else.
Okay, thank you very much for sitting through this with us and giving us your views on what your platform is. And I wish you all the best. All the best in the coming election.
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate the time. And I'm just excited about the prospects of a new council being elected. Whomever they might be, I think we're seeing a lot of people step up that genuinely care about what's been transpiring, the direction we've been going in, and realize the need to course correct. And I hope people get out and vote this year. Being electronic voting, I trust that we'll get a large turnout, and it's my goal to speak to as many people as possible, get them to cast their vote, and bring the community together. We have divided this community in so many ways over the last 4 years. People are sick and tired of it. They just want their happy place back. And get out and vote, folks. That's all I can say. Thanks for your time, Steve.
Great. Thank you.